Hey everyone, this is the OotiniCast episode 466. OotiniCast episode 466. OotiniCast episode is working, and this is being recorded on May the 24th of 2023. This is the raw version of the show that goes out live, and then we do edit it down for the audio podcast. The raw video version will go out on YouTube as well, but we are streaming this live at twitch.tv/OotiniCast. Let me go ahead and announce that we are live, and then we'll be pretty much ready to go with the show.
When you, after that checkout chat, we got a new emote for kitty treats.
Aw, that's a cute one. I like it.
It's pretty funny, right?
Yeah. What's it
now
from?
We both have goofy ones. I don't know. She just made it.
Yeah. Did she have a particular video that she did that from, or did she even?
No, I think she actually just did 2 pictures.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oops.
That's funny.
Hang on. I made a typo. I gotta get this right. There we go. And it's out there.
Rage. And I see it.
Yep, me too. All right.
There we go. Retweeted.
Oh, hang on. I just remembered one thing that I didn't get done yet. This is why. It's funny how, like, I just... let's see. This won't take long. I just have to...
no worries.
Copy some stuff here. I'm trying to get better at it, but I just forgot this time. So we do the poll on Mastodon as well as Twitter. And there was a couple of good comments, and I just wanted to make sure that they got on the show notes as well. And they are in, so we're good. All right, ready, Kitty?
I'm ready, baby.
All right, going in 5. Let me have a little water, and again, try not to spew it. That's still stuck in my head. That's like from 3 months ago or something now.
It was funny as hell.
Yeah, it was. It took a while to recover from it too. My voice was like really scratchy for like the first part of the episode.
It seemed like it surprised you. It surprised the hell out of you.
Oh, it did. It really did. It absolutely did.
Like, this doesn't happen to Chill.
What has happened to me? Why can't I just drink water?
Walter Chill Cronkite.
Walter Chill Cronkite.
That's right.
That's right. That's right, Marbo. Cronkite is about 2 degrees from being Richard Milhouse Nixon.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
New episodes coming out next month or July. Anyway,
it's like on Hulu or something. Where is it from?
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
I don't have Hulu right now, so I might have to do it. We'll see.
I'll record them for you.
Yeah, the problem is that they keep like, you know, we're doing cable in the aggregate now. It's like,
I know,
so
right?
Annoying. Yeah, it's so
come
annoying.
All the way around.
Hey, Hatfield, how's it going?
Hey, Hatfield.
Nice to have you back. All right, so yeah, now will be 5 seconds from when we go. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that isn't a harvest job. This is episode 466, being recorded on Tuesday, May 24th, 2023. I'm your host, chilling with me is my co-host, KittyKissz. How you doing, Kitty?
I'm doing great, Chill.
Yeah, I had to do a little Cleo reference there, of course, and we will get to that in a little bit. But what you been up to since the last show?
Well, I started playing my new cosplay tune, and he's a Jedi Sentinel, and his name's Ghost Dog.
Oh, okay.
After the Jim Jarmusch film Ghost Dog, starring Forrest Whitaker.
Cool. I don't know that one.
Oh, you gotta get it.
Is Forrest Whitaker Ghost Dog?
Yeah, it's great. It's funny. It's cool. It's I don't know if you watch Jim Jarmusch movies or anything like that. He's got a very specific style of
What
directing.
else has he done, or what's like his most famous movie? Because he's not just rolling
Down
right
by
in my
Law. He did. he's kind of an independent indie director. But
Yeah,
he's
that
awesome.
sounds fun.
He's really, really good. He's an assassin, but just rent it. You'll love it.
Sounds like fun.
It's great.
Yeah. I think the last Forrest Whitaker, at least the last Forrest Whitaker headed movie I saw was Last King of Scotland, where he plays the dictator in Africa. She's so amazing in that.
I couldn't watch that. I just
it's pretty dark.
I remember reading about the real genocide, and I saw pictures, and I just like I can't. It messes me up bad.
Yeah.
Like I can't do Holocaust stuff when it about the death camps and stuff like that. It brings me to tears. It really messes with my head. On a lighter note, Ghost Dog is very sentinel-y. He is not going to take any lovers, I think, through the vanilla story, because it would deter him from his real task at life, being a Jedi.
Oh, okay.
I went Shadow with him too, because you got to have Shadow. Okay. You got to be able to stealth. Which,
I see. So he's mostly a sentinel, but if it's time to put on the sneaky shoes, he'll put on the sneaky shoes. Okay.
He'll be sneaky, yeah. Because I also made a stipulation that I made weapons for him on another character, a crafter, but he only gets weapons. Everything else he has to loot in the game, including for looks. No, just the his gear. For gear. Just the gear. Yeah. So he's I think it was a really substantial, for the level I'm at, piece of gear, and it was the gear that it's was switched out for was a rating 44. I was like, oh man, that hadn't dropped in a long time. So, but I love doing that, because then it kind of forces me to do some of the dailies, because those are some of the best places for the drop gears, right? Level 61. So it's kind of fun. I realize, oh man, I need to.
And it takes a while to
get off my butt and go do these things.
Yeah, and it takes a while to get like relics and implants, and sometimes stuff like that too.
It's terrible. Yeah. But of course, as soon as he's 75, I'll put all that aside and give him his 322 gear, and then at 80, I'll throw the
324, whatever it starts at nowadays.
38 or 328. I don't know.
Oh, okay, whatever. It's all good. Nice. And where is he now?
He just got off of Terrace bonus series. I'm running all of it.
You're running it all.
Okay. Oh, also, I'm not using any XP packs on him, because he really leveled hard during double XP. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, also if you're doing every mission, you're gonna get ahead anyway, regardless.
Yeah. So it's pretty fun, because he's so so Jedi. But later on, I'm gonna play it that he kind of lose faith in the Jedi for a little while, and then we're gonna bring him back for a nice juicy story arc.
Nice. That sounds really good, actually.
Probably when he gets the offer to return to the Republic and restore the Jedi. I think that's when I think during the chapters and a little after, he'll start to kill people because they need to die.
Right.
Stuff. But so some awesome news about my chair, my gaming chair, is that I got some new casters for my chair, and I didn't know that you could do that. I didn't know that there were casters that you could get that are better than the vanilla
factory ones. Yeah,
the factory, because the factory ones suck. They're terrible.
Right.
And the circumference is probably, I want to say, maybe a half an inch wider.
Okay.
And they're
wait.
kind of
wider. You mean like the wheel is bigger, or do you mean like it's thicker?
The diameter. The diameter of the wheel is about like I said, a half an inch. But then it's only about an inch thick.
Right.
So, and it's rubber, because the old ones were messing up my floor, and I went to go get a mat to put down so that it doesn't chew up my floor as much. And then I saw these and I went, oh my God, I'm going to get those.
Nice.
$20, best $20 I've ever spent on a gaming chair thing or whatever. It's like, check it out.
Oh, wow. You can really roll with them.
Whoa.
Are there still little guards over the top of them, or?
No, it's freewheeling, baby.
So you got to be a little careful not to like catch your foot in it or anything, or catch your clothing in it.
I've never.
But it's never happened.
It's never been an option.
So it's not a problem. Okay, well that's good.
So it's awesome, and actually, Dirty Socks is in chat right now. He was telling me that you're an old man when you get excited about casters on your chair. And I was like, damn straight. But yeah, so I recommend to anybody out there, $20, get yourself new casters on your chair, and it's game changing. Wonderful.
Nice.
Last but not least, I'm sure we'll talk about it a little later.
Oh, yeah.
But Chill and myself and my beautiful sweet ginger syrup Kitty Treats did an interview earlier or last week. So,
yep. And it was with Tasia Valenza, the voice of Cleo, which is why I did the Cleo reference earlier. And it shows up if you are listening to it as a podcast. It's 465. The last episode came out about it was on Saturday, so that's 4 days ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. It was also a lot of fun doing the premiere with you. I was guesting on KittyKiss's stream, and we premiered it there, and it was amazing. Yeah, and people were had some very nice things to say about it, which was all wonderful. And more to the point, Tasia had a lot of interesting things to say. So definitely go check it out if you haven't yet. Yeah. Or check it out again. I don't care. It's
really cool.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
It's also on the OotiniCast YouTube channel, and it's very easy to find there as well. So yeah, definitely check that out.
And that OotiniCast YouTube channel sure looks nice.
Yeah, we're working on that, and Kitty Treats did give me a picture to put up to sort of spruce up the banner, and she also now has access, so she'll be probably. She had some plans, but I don't know exactly what that'll entail, to sort of just make it look a little nicer really and gussy it up a bit. Because it's true, it's like we haven't really touched with it much. Tio set it up years ago, and it had the old OotiniCast picture, which I still like, but it's black and white, and it was fine. But I like the freshen it up, and also to have the Orabesh that actually says Kitty Treats is good too. So. Because you've been the host/co-host for a long time, so
that's right. This is my house now.
Exactly.
But that's it for me, Jill.
All right. And let's see. Who we got in the thing? So 01L is here. 24 is here. LSA Dre, Darth Dirty Socks, Drapsnat, Kata, Kitty Treats is here. Morgaine 2K7, Squishy Twitchy, and Hatfield are all showing up. Thanks for coming, everyone. And all right, so what I did since the last one. So the Deckard character died, so he's gone because he was a permadeath character. So he was Deckard from Blade Runner, and he had a few rules, no help from companions. Because I think if I'm going to do a permadeath character, it kind of has to have no help from companions, because otherwise it feels a little too easy. Like, you just keep your companion on heals, and you'll be fine in like 99.9% of solo content, So anyway, he died on Ilum. It was the last fight of Ilum, that big. He was an agent, so it was on the Empire side. And it's that thing where the main boss kind of hides himself in a little box, and then there's these things in the corners that you have to click on, and the droids that try to repair it, you have to destroy the droids, but there's ads coming out the whole time. And the ads just got ahead of me, and I was using my cooldowns. I died with all my cooldowns burnt, but he did die, and so that was it for him. I probably could have used them better. Like, I think I used Heroic Moment a little late and stuff like that. So it was not, I did not play it ideally, but in any case, that was the rule. He died, so he's gone. So just transferred anything I had of reasonable value off of him and deleted him. He's not on my account anymore. So it was fun though. That he served his purpose. It was fun.
I might have to try that. That sounds really,
it's a fun
really
challenge,
fun.
yeah. And then you can do it in different ways. And in fact, I'll talk about another one here in a sec. For a few days then I went back to Unarmed Fezzik just because I'm not committing to do it all in a row, but I am committing to get him all the way through the story. And he's punching his way through Rishi and Yavin 4. So he's actually getting pretty close to the chapters at this point. And yeah, so the rules with him are, again, no help from companions, but he's not a permadeath character. He will definitely die because he has no main hand weapon. So can you do the story with no main hand weapon? Well, a couple of expansions ago, we found that we could at least do it through that because I did it with Shrek, but now we're doing it with Fezzik, and we're also doing it on the other side because we saw he was a Republic character. Shrek was a knight, I believe. Yes, he was a knight, and Fezzik did as a warrior, so we could do the same thing, but also see it on the Empire side. So yeah, it's tons of punching. My forefinger gets so tired because it's basically one ability all the time. Like every global is basically the same punch, except if they're below 25% health, there's like an execute ability that does like 20% more damage. Yeah. And then there's 2 abilities that you can use that do damage that don't require a main hand weapon if you're a warrior. One is the Force Choke and one is the Force Push. And they both, the Force Choke is actually pretty useful because it's a little bit of damage, but also it's a CC. So it's the only really hard CC. Except technically the push is as well, but you have to be careful about using that because I have no jump because that requires a weapon. I have no pull. I have no... So if I push him and he goes flying far away, I have to run after him. Yeah, exactly. So sometimes if they're ranged and I push them wrong and they go flying, I have to run after them. Then they're actually shooting at me again. But by the time I actually get up to them, so yeah, it's amazing to do, but it takes a long time to get anything done. And but it is fun, and with no companion help, it definitely lets me know about, because the defensive cooldowns fortunately don't require it either. So I'm able to use the Endure Pain, which is like temporary health. Very dangerous to use, especially like if you get low. You get out of combat, I won, and then the extra health goes away. If you still have a dot, you'll die because the next tick will kill you.
Yeah,
so you have to be careful about using that. Yeah.
We raided you the other day, and I just saw your guy going,
punch, punch, punch.
And I was like, hey, babe, Chill's doing a no main hand weapon. And she just goes, oh, God.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get them all killed. And the rage defense is huge, of course, because it's such a big heal that it's the only way I get through some fights, basically. Like sometimes I even have to and every fight, like even 4 weeks, 3 weeks even sometimes, if they're standing together, because I have no AoE, like I will have to use cooldowns even in fights like that. It's like every fight includes cooldowns. It's amazing. Yeah. So I'm chugging.
What level did he die at?
He's not a permanent death character. So he's on Rishi. Finished Rishi. He's on to Yavin 4, and I think he's done the first half of Yavin 4, and I think he's like level 70.
Okay, because at 75 you could use that second wind implant. And that that would help
tactical,
out
you mean?
Yeah,
the tactical would be really good. I have actually one ready for
it's
him.
An implant.
No, back there, you're talking about the tactical. The second winds are those are implants, but that's not 75. That's 80. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yes, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. But I do have the Life Warden or whatever it's called, the tactical, that does much the same thing. Well, not really, because it's not based on whether you've defeated someone. It's whether if you get below a certain threshold of health, it just gives you a bunch of healing. Right, so he's going to use that one as his main one, and then it goes on a 10-minute cooldown. So I'll give him another one, and I think I have a really crummy general one, because of course a lot of the warrior ones he can't use because it's about abilities that he does not have access to.
Oh, that's right. So I didn't think of that.
Right. So it's going to be the one where if your relic gets procced, you get extra mastery. It's not much, but it's something to do while until Life Warden is back off of cooldown. But yeah, I like the idea that once we're 80, we'll have the implant so that we get a nice fat heal every
Oh yeah.
Pretty much every time we kill someone, because it's going to take more than 8 seconds to kill someone. There's an 8-second cooldown, but it always takes 8 seconds to kill anyone, and doing it this way, it's crazy, man. It's going to be a lot of healing. It will help, though. It will help. Anyway, so
That's
yeah.
funny.
So did that a few days, and then I decided to make another character. So it's another permadeath character, and I decided to make Winston from Ghostbusters. I thought about the different Ghostbusters, but Ray and Bill Murray's character, like, they have a very specific look that's not really easy to duplicate. I think I could do a little better with Egon, but when I kind of tried it, it's like, oh yeah, there's not really glasses in the game. There's goggles. There's not really glasses.
He has tall hair too.
Yeah, there's a couple of tall hairs that would kind of work, but it wouldn't have been great. So I went with Winston because I can do the mustache. It's all good. It's reasonably accurate. So I did him as a commando. So we have the two-handed, holding the proton pack gun, and I have the like a backpack outfit on him, and like these sort of baggy, jumpsuity trousers, and he looks pretty good actually. It's a lot of fun, and we are. So we're doing the rules for him are. It is a permadeath character, so he hasn't died yet, and if he does, then he's done. No help from companions, so companion goes on passive. And the third one is he has to be in healing spec. So I'm going to do it all the way through, but he has to be in healing spec. It gives him a lot of access to healing, but not a lot of access to damage. And the heat management, if you're trying to do damage, is really pretty rough as healing. Like you're not getting any help really, basically. So it's like a lot of free ability is just being thrown in there in the middle, and popping the supercharged gas every time I get it up to 10 stacks again. So
it's gonna be brutal at low level.
Yeah, it's not
consuming
at very low level. It's not too bad because it's until level 15 it's the same. There is no real healing spec until 15, and then as you go on and on, you're getting healing abilities and healing passives instead of damage abilities and damage passives, and the gulf of damage that he's able to do is getting pretty bad at this point. It's not quite unarmed physic levels of bad, but he's definitely is struggling to get sort of any tough enemy down without stopping to heal in the middle and stuff like that. But it is fun. Yeah. And of course we did, like I said, we talked about the interview already. So yeah, so I'm having fun with that. Like I said, where are we on him? Yeah, that's right. We finished Act 1 and we are about to start Act 2, and we're kind of caught up with the companion stories and all that. So we're about to go to Terrace because he's doing Bounty Hunter story.
Terrace.
So, yeah.
I like Terrace on Imperial. I like the nighttime.
The vibe.
The
Yeah,
look
it's good
of it.
stuff.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. All right, so let's go on to the tip of the week. And you have a tip, it looks like, Kitty?
I do. This is a little one, but I don't know if a lot of people know this. So some mission items can be placed in your toolbar.
That's cool.
Even if they're temporary mission items, that you can pull them actually right off your HUD into your toolbar if you need it.
That's
the
nice.
micro binocular and the droid retrieval missions. It's really, I like to pop them in there because then I don't have to, it's always just kind of in the same spot.
Right. That makes sense.
Toolbar. So
I like that.
If you're out there and you're sick of having to go all the way over, especially if you're not a clicker, put it in your toolbar and hotkey it.
That's cool. Yeah, it's amazing how many things you can actually pull down to the bar, like gifts, for example. It's not just regular abilities, it's gifts and things like that too. There are some special abilities sometimes that your guild might unlock for you, but they don't automatically go on your bar. You have to look for them and put them on there.
Right.
And so yeah, it's cool that mission items too, some of them anyway. All right, and we had a couple of tips here. First one is from Jonathan, and Jonathan writes, "Hey, quick tip for people like me who had slightly different interface settings for each of their tunes, and it was driving them crazy. The button to save the interface settings doesn't include things like chat window settings, countdowns on abilities, and so on. Therefore, activating the profile in a different tune doesn't completely restore all of your settings, though you will get your quick bars and so on. You can So what you can do is you can go to your user folder and copy across the settings files. To do this, configuring everything the way you like it on one tune, go to the roaming app data folder. You can do this by typing, and then we'll put it in the show notes, but it's basically local app data, SWTOR settings into Windows Explorer. It will then take you to the right folder for your username. So, for example, goes to c/users/johnat/appdata/local/SWTOR/settings. Delete the player GUI state.ini files for all of the tunes you want to update to the new version. Copy and paste the player GUI state.ini file for the tune that you configured and rename it for your new tune. So, example, you would delete the old one and then take a copy of the new one and rename it to HE4000_EVA Moreau_player GUI state.ini. Pretty cool. And a bonus tip, I keep a copy of my main configuration in the folder and call it blah, 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 blah. When I create a new tune, I just take a copy of it and put it in the new tune's name. And then a bonus tip, you can copy all of these files to somewhere like Dropbox or OneDrive, so you can just quickly get your settings back if you move to a different computer, reinstall Windows, or whatever.
Nice.
So thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that, Jonathan. Good tip. And it's kind of amazing how many things sort of do get saved that way. And I do appreciate that because, like, I do kind of go through. I don't change too many things, but I've kind of learned, like, I'm always gonna have to go to that cooldown section of the preferences and change that and stuff like that. So, I think if I was gonna change more on every tune, I would probably, like, to always make it the same way, I would use this tip for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's absolutely a good one.
And then 24 fan gave us a tip, and it's on meditation with Amity. So if you meditate to 40, not to 50 where the debuff happens, but you stop right around 40, then you go to your stronghold and come back, rinse and repeat, and it won't put the debuff on you, and you won't have to wait out the 10-minute no log out debuffs.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because that debuff is nasty, because, like, you can't just log out and come back in an hour or 10 minutes or 2 days, because the debuff will still be there. So so this is apparently, to be fair, I did not actually test this one, but he said he actually learned it for someone else. He tried it himself. I trust him. He's a friend of the show. I'm sure he's right. So so basically it also means you're gonna have to meditate a little bit more, because you're cutting it off before the 50. You're going to 40 instead, so you're gonna be meditating 5 times instead of 4, and you're gonna have to do a little traveling back and forth, but basically not a bad way to do it. I think the reason he suggested the stronghold is simply because from the stronghold you can return to the exact same area and you won't have to travel anymore. Whereas if you went to, like, the fleet and then came back to Drum and Kos or Coruscant, you'd have to actually run back to the little fire. So thank you, 24. And they, so they both get pet code, Tonfon M83R or M2B9, plus a 450cc code. And thank you to Bioware for all those. And if you want a chance to win the same, send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show. All right, that brings us to the Mind Trap. I'm going to have a little water here.
I was going to say don't choke, but...
Yeah, don't choke. So what we wanted to know was, has the addition of the credit cost to quick travel affected how you use it in SWTOR? So do you avoid quick travel? Do you use alternatives? Do you look at cheaper travel points, and so on? And got a pretty good amount of votes here, and the Mastodon version showed basically the same numbers, so I'm just going to go with, I'm just putting the ones from Twitter in the show notes. So no, only slightly, yes, quite a bit, or yes, heavily. So for me, I put only slightly. That was the one I chose. How about you, Kitty?
I had no. I even turned off the notifications.
Okay.
Not at all.
So you don't care, right? At all.
I don't care.
For me, it's only slightly, and it's more of a psychological thing. Like, it's not like I don't have the credits. It's just that I notice it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, I got to pay the thing. And it's like, and then sometimes I'll think, oh, does that mean I should look for a closer travel point? So it doesn't really affect, because I usually end up quick traveling anyway, but yes, it does slightly affect me, for sure. So no was actually the winner with 41.7% of the vote, so a little over 40, almost 42% of the vote. Only slightly, 30.4%. So the lower half, who didn't really find too much change, was about 71% of the vote, actually 72%. Yes, quite a bit was 16.7%, and yes, heavily was 11.3%, which is still reasonably high, especially since from doing all the other polls that we've done, we know that our audience tends to skew towards longer term players who have been in the game a lot and therefore probably, have the credits to spend. But of course, not everyone does, and there are newer players who follow us or might have just seen the thing because they're following SWOT or, information on Twitter or on Mastodon or whatever.
Right.
So we got 240 votes, and thank you for retweets. We do appreciate that. So I would say, though, that what this to me, this sort of confirms what I thought, which is that established players who have the credits, it doesn't really bother them, but it kind of is bothering people who don't have the credits, haven't played the game a lot, or new to the game. Because 16, 26, 27% of the player base who actually reported on this, at least, that's a quarter of the players. Even if that's remotely close to the real thing, that's affecting them a lot, basically.
Yeah, that is.
So that's not just a tax that's helping to remove some credits from the game and isn't really affected by anyone. This is actually changing how a reasonably good chunk of the player base is actually using quick travel, which is definitely the easiest way to get around the game in almost every case. Like, there are occasions where you can use strongholds or whatever, but yeah, I would say that this is a little rough on the newer players, and that's not necessarily a good thing.
No, that's interesting. I asked some people in chat every now and again if they're affected by it, and
right.
The majority, probably I want to say 90% of the people in chat say no, that they're not affected at all. But
right. So Shias Satur said yes and no. I still use it, but if there's a heroic in that area or another way, then I'm not using it. The price is on Tython to go to the Jedi Temple should be free. Same goes for the main town on Ord Mantell. The rest should be hundreds of credits, not thousands, for low levels and free to play. And so, right, and Paul said, it hasn't affected me at all. One heroic is enough for me to cover any quick travel I might use in a day. Empress Valen said, nope, since the tax was introduced, I'm up 2.2 billion. So she's doing all right. Rebel de Gale said, I'd say yes. Basically, I'm more likely to avoid quick travel on a planet. I do like the scenic route, but it is kind of a nuisance when I have little gameplay time and I have to fight back past enemies, and it's absurd on starter planets. New players have none to spend. Yeah, basically you're not using quick travel if you're like new to the game and at low levels. It's like it's just not going to happen. Like,
it's like back in the day when the game first started.
Yeah,
you just have no money, no money through all the vanilla story, basically.
Right. Mordecai said, now on 3 servers where I'm a billionaire, no, but on Tulak Horde, where I started a vanilla legacy, I feel the free-to-play and new player pain. Yeah.
Oof.
Alf Coates said, I use free alternatives whenever possible, heroic dailies to get to planets, heroic shortcuts when they're close, and I usually prefer flight paths to quick travel. It's not so much that I can't afford it, but I prefer to adjust my traveling habits and save quick travel for when needed. Yep.
Interesting.
Gelatinous Cube, which love the name, said, I've never been good at holding on to large amounts of money in games, so now quick travel is used only when necessary. I feel like it was a bad move and isn't affecting the players it needs to, while punishing new players and those that suck at money handling. Sean Myber said, the only main way it affects me is with new characters on starting planets before I can get them to Legacy Cargo Hold. I don't have the credits at that point to cover it. And some people, let's see, yeah, so kind of a mix. And then from Mastodon, Kevin wrote, the dev team has more stats than I, but the quick travel tax is pretty regressive. If you've got billions or millions, are you going to worry about this? And are you quick traveling so much as to be a realistic siphon off of your fortune? But if they really want to go for it, they should scale the QT tax not only by level, but also by the amount of credits you have on the character.
That's interesting.
And yeah, so I
think level would be a good idea.
Right. I think and I don't think it should be character level. I think what they should probably do, like, if I was a dev and I was looking to like alter how this was going to work, like I honestly think that for established characters, players, that it really isn't affecting us much. So what I would actually do is take the current cost, divide it by 50, and then multiply it by your legacy level. So if you have your maxed out legacy level of 50, it's the same cost. But for people who are just starting out, it'll be 50 times cheaper. Or if they're level 2, 25 times cheaper. So instead of a maximum of 5,000 credits, it would be like, what is that, 250 credits or something like that. And that's even a very, very long travel, on a really big planet. Right. Whereas most of the starting planets, I don't think it goes over like 1,000 or maybe 1,500 credits or something like that. I've tried to keep my eyes out, and I think about 1,500 is about the biggest one I've seen on some of the starter planets, and that's really going from side to side because the planets are much smaller for starter planets, which they were designed to be because people didn't have mounts and whatever. So I think something like that would actually it would make it so that newer players would actually be able to use it. But it would still keep the, for the player base who have the credits, have been established, then you're paying more, but you're probably not it's not really gonna affect you, not in any serious way.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
That you had.
Well,
I like it.
Yeah, I would love it because I don't want to see new players be punished.
Yeah.
I think, and
you gotta keep new people coming in.
Yeah, exactly. If any MMO, they're always keeping an eye on people who are coming in, and then how many of the new ones who come in stick. And it'd be a lot better for them if they have the access to quick travel. And because you're not going to be able to use it if you're brand new to the game. Like even if you notice that it's there, and they don't make it super obvious that it's available, but even once you notice it, it's going to be like, oh, I have quick travel, but it actually one trip costs more than my entire character has. So yeah. Anyway, so there we go. Let's see. All right. I think we'll do a quick Cantina Talk segment here. Cantina Talk is a segment where we pick out a voice actor from the literally hundreds who have voiced for SWTOR over the years. We've talked about Tara Strong, Nika Futterman, and so on. This is just another excuse for us to talk about Tasia Valenza. So see episode 465 of the OotiniCast for our interview with this wonderful voice actor of SWTOR's Cleo Janus, and of course a bunch of other stuff as well. She's really interesting, a lot of fun. She was great to work with and interview, and I highly recommend listening to it. She had some nice things to say too, some interesting things to say. For example, about how the voice recording went for SWTOR back in the day. Like how do they handle all the voices that different characters play, and how do voice actors get the new the additional voices and stuff like that. So good stuff.
And I posted a link in chat for anybody that's interested.
Awesome. And then we'll get to the holo feed. So there's some on the GTN for 7.3. They're going to be adding essentially taxes to some of the ways of moving things around that haven't been taxed in the past. There's certain cash on mail sort of things going on, but also you can directly transfer things from one player to another as a form of trade. And so they're looking at the tax that would be. Now they're doing it's a little complicated, but basically they're looking at various ways of figuring out sort of an actual credit value. They've never had to do this before. The closest thing they've ever had to a credit value for an item was whatever you could sell it to a vendor for, but that completely is useless for most cartel market items. It's completely useless for kind of anything that's actually useful, even if it does have a reasonable, semi-reasonable vendor value, because, the actual price of like med packs are way higher than that, stuff like that. Right. So, so they're looking at some of the taxes, and they'll talk about it here in a minute, but basically they're going to look at prices. It's going to be sort of floating around, and it'll actually be different on different servers. So if the server has higher prices, it will actually have higher taxes for items and stuff like that. And so this is also just because people who do you're not supposed to do it, but there are people who buy and sell credits, and one of the things that they do is they take items that just have a good value and they just kind of move those around as sort of proxies for actual credit amounts.
Yeah.
So even if you trade an item for an item without any actual credits changing hands, there'll still be a tax involved. So for example, Master's Datacron, which is not on the GTN but costs 3,200 cc's, the looks like the tax is going to be somewhere around 180 million credits, which is a lot. A lot. But the item is worth like probably a few billion credits. So 179 million sounds like a high tax, but it is a small fraction of what it would be.
I think they're.
Yeah.
I don't remember how much they were going for, but that Masters Datacron was. I mean, wasn't it going for like 4 billion or something like that?
Yeah, you'll never see it on the
fleet?
you'll never see it on the GTN. Yeah, you'll only see it on the fleet. And I hardly ever do that because usually by the time I get to fleet, I've turned off general chat. I really don't like general chat or anything like that, or trade chat. Ultimate Cartel packs, which you can actually find on the GTN, because we're talking about the individual ones, not the hypercrates. A pack is about 120 million. The tax 11 million. So they're looking at. Assuming that's correct, we're looking at something like a 5-ish% tax. And that's just a question of how accurate their values are and stuff like that. I was going to actually I was thinking of adding a tip of the week, but then it came up here, so I decided to just save it for here. The OEM 37 and RPM 13s, they're used in making super high-end augments. Not a huge amount of people actually use them, but people who are really trying to do the hardest operations in the game. Right. And certain hardcore PvPers will look at them as well. And OEM 37s and RPM 13s are both used in that. And they're hard to get a hold of normally. However, you can buy them for 4,000 tech points each on the fleet. And since, and that's a lot. But they're worth about 75 million credits. And if you do the per tech point, that's a lot better than Embers. It's a lot better than the process isotope stabilizers that we've talked about before on the show. On a per tech point basis, it's like 10 times, 20 times more. So it's really, really valuable. So yeah, if you're running out of things to do with your tech points, you might think about OEM 37s and RPM 13s. They sell for a lot on the GTN. And and so 74 million or 75 million for those two things, and a little under 7 million for the tax. So in this case, it's about 8% tax or something like that. So I'm not sure exactly, how these numbers exactly happen, but anyway, that's how it goes. So
when those things first came out, I made a lot of money on them. I forgot where we were getting them from. I feel like there was something that was dropping them on a regular basis. It might have been Conquest.
Maybe,
but
yeah.
Anyway, I was every
happy
week
to sell
I
them.
would sell them. And I just,
yeah.
Cha-ching.
So I would say, I would say if you're looking for them, like Embers, you'll still make money off of Embers, but you'll make a lot more off of OEMs and RPMs, and they're only 4,000 as opposed to 3,000 for an Ember. An Ember is like 5 million. So, but. So yeah, it's literally like 10 times more money on a per tech point credit.
Oh man,
method.
It's really critical augment 77. Oh man.
Yep.
Crazy.
All right. So let's see. And then they kind of got back to them. I'm happy to give some of these examples. Please do check things out on the PTS server to verify and help us things that feel incorrect. Again, this is on the PTS and it's now closed. We'll talk about that in a minute. An important caveat with these is while each server has a slightly different economy, these are using a median across the entire game on the test server is what they're talking about. When the GTN overhaul happens, it will depend strictly on your server. So in other words, if you're on a server where the economy's, kind of maybe a little quieter, or the prices have gone down because maybe they've gotten a hold of the inflation or whatever, these should also go down. Also, because these are static values until the overhaul, it means that in order for them to change, it will have to be with a patch. I cannot speak when we would do that, but whenever we have one, we'll try to make sure to give it an update as necessary. And let's see. And for those asking, the values are based on successful sales and not listing prices. And let's see. All right. So yeah, that's going to be, it looks like the taxes are kind of shooting for somewhere between 5 and 10%. We're looking at these different, amounts, and they seem to be in the sort of 5 to 6 to 7% for the most of them. A couple of them are closer to 10. So it looks like that'll roughly, which kind of makes sense. That's sort of in the same range of the GTN as well, which is kind of around the same amount.
Curious to see how this is gonna in a couple of years from now.
Will it have helped die down the inflation
I'm
problems?
Very curious about that.
Yeah. Yep. And they're certainly going to keep an eye on it too. We know that.
I like it.
And Bryant Woods was talking about arena changes for PvP Season 3. And he said, hey, community, wanted to touch on some changes to arena objectives coming in PvP Season 3. When we were building out the seasonal objectives for arenas, to keep it simple, we made it require double the amount of war zones given their relative time and commitment in theory. However, in practice, we know that the time it takes in many cases for arenas isn't exactly half of a war zone. So in Season 3, we'll be lowering arena objective requirements to be closer in alignment with our goals and to feel a little bit more in line with war zone objectives in their time to complete. Yeah, because there's been weeks when I just touch the war zones and then I just don't even try for the arenas. So anyway. Arenas decorated, earn at least 7 medals in 6 arena matches, down from 8 matches. Play 12, combatant played 12 arena matches, down from 16. Arenas domination, win 4 arena matches, down from 6. So those are all still higher than the war zones, but it's a lot closer. For example, 3, you usually have to get 3 wins, I believe. Yeah, isn't it 3? It's 3. And instead you have to get 4 arenas. So still more, but not as much more. And Cog's like, woohoo, been begging for that change. Yep. And I haven't been begging for it, but I've been thinking about it a lot, and I've been sort of behaving around it too, because I haven't been playing very many arenas, because it's like sometimes I'll do a couple because maybe there's something for the galactic season, so I'll go ahead and do a few, and after that's done, I look at the things and there's still a long way to go, so it's like, forget it, I'm not gonna do we'll go to war zones. Yeah. And update, we've also reduced the requirements for PvP arena weekly missions, so the actual missions will be easier, as well as the previous ones he was talking about were for the PvP season. Daily requires 4 wins count times 3, down from 6. So in other words, 1 loss and 1 win would get you there, which is nice.
That sounds nice.
Yep. Arena of Death requires 4 arena matches, wins count times 3, down from 6. And Time for Pain weekly requires 16 win counts times 3, down from 24.
24.
Yeah. So it's a lot less.
Oh, that is a lot.
And same with Weekly Go Berserk. Now requires 16 arena matches, down from 24.
I wonder if anybody ever did the math on how much time that actually consumes on an average. How much time you have to wait for the match to pop. How long the matches actually take.
Right. Well, I think what's happened is they sort of realized that, because it's true, arenas, they can go long, but they tend to be 1 and 2 rounds. Sometimes they'll go 3, but it's usually 2. Mm-hmm. And if you balance that out, and then you look at how long it takes to Warzone, yeah, it probably really is about twice as long for a Warzone as an arena, but. Yeah, then you're talking about the queue up times, and then when you get into the game, that part takes the same amount of time. There's still that cooldown, from when if you click on it the instant it pops and it's a fresh one, you've got a minute and a half before it starts. That's the same in an arena and a war zone. So they're sort of they're sort of taking into account the fact that a lot of the things do take the same amount of time for war zones arenas. Just the actual arena, the actual fighting takes a little less, but a lot of things around it take just the same amount. So it's nice that they're sort of making it match better.
Because when I looked at how much you had to actually complete to do it, I haven't touched it. I'm just I'll never do it.
Right.
It's
tough. Yeah, Cog is saying for me it takes 2 to 3 hours for weekly on arenas, and for war zones it's more like 1.5 to 2. So yeah, so that's that's 50% more time. So this will bring it. That should bring it pretty much in line. It sounds like Cog Cog might have to report for us back when he actually sees it live. But it sounds pretty close. It sounds pretty close. Like it'll actually bring it to within, because no one's going to care if it's like 5 or 10% different. But when it's like 50% different, yeah, you care. Thank you, Cog. Right. And then Jackie also let us know recently, hello, everyone. We're taking down the PTS around 12 p.m. Central Time today. This was like the other day. This was yesterday. We will now be bringing the PTS back up as the team will be moving forward with finalizing changes and polish. Woo! Details on 7.3's release date will be announced at a later time. Thank you all for your feedback on the 7.3 PTS, which is excellent. It's funny, in my brain, this is always like, oh, and that means it's like a month out. No, it's usually not a month out for this sort of thing. It's usually, it can be as little as 1 week, although I think 2 is pretty much more common. Yeah. And then it could be even like 3 weeks, but I'd be surprised if it'd be any longer than that. We'll see how long it takes, and it can vary a lot. But, this 7.3, it's not like it's it's not like it would be 8.0, which would be like a full expansion. There would be tons of extra stuff. That always takes a while. Like in my brain, I always think of those sort of PTSs, but that's not what this is. This is one of the smaller PTSs, just a regular 0.3, a 0.1, 0.2, now 0.3. There's going to be a new story. We know that because it's a 0.3, and I'm looking forward to it, and we'll be having a lot of fun. But it'll probably be like a couple weeks. We'll see.
Yeah, I gotta say
again, this is not me knowing anything internal. Yeah. I'm not being coy about having some actual information or anything like that. I'm just speculating based on past PTSs that we've seen. It's usually a couple of weeks for this sort of level of amount of material and stuff like that. Yeah. So we'll see.
They have been on the ball. Thank you, SWOTOR. Yeah. You guys have been kicking some butt, and it's appreciated.
Yeah. All right. And let's see. And finally, passing of Ray Stevenson, which was really sad. He was in Rome, which I really liked back in the day.
Loved Rome.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I actually watched it when it was like a live show, like when it was actually coming out, and there's like a new one every week and whatever on HBO. Yeah. Really good. He was in Rome. He was also in the Thor movies more recently, and he's going to be in Ahsoka, so watch for him there. But he did die, unfortunately. He was only 58. I did a little research. He was only 4 days away from his next birthday, so he's almost 59, and he's on a movie set, and they apparently took him to the hospital. At this point, I don't have a lot of information on exactly what happened, but something went wrong. I don't know if it was an accident or an illness or what it was, but apparently something very serious happened. He got taken to a hospital. This was like I can't remember exactly where this was. He's an Irish actor, but I think the movie might have been Italy or something like that. And unfortunately, he died in the hospital apparently. So, R.I.P. to Ray Stevenson, and really, really, really sad. And definitely check out Thor. Check out his stuff. Rome was really great. Like if you've never seen the Rome thing and you have access to the HBO. It should be there because that's kind of what they do is they play this HBO stuff.
Didn't that just end abruptly?
Rome?
I
think a little bit.
Have a conclusion, did it?
It might not have, but it was really good while
it
lasted.
Great. It
had like a couple good 3 seasons or something like that.
I think it was only 2.
Was it 2? Yeah, 2-3 seasons, something like that. It was not very long, but it was really good. It was really
like
good.
Deadwood, just like all of a sudden just stopped. So.
Yeah,
call your loved ones, everyone. Yeah. I'm going to be that person. Call your loved ones, tell them you love them, because you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
All right. And do you have anything coming up, Kitty?
I don't think so.
Okay. I want to say what about go ahead.
There is going to be a Loken event.
I was going to say.
And the Loken events always happen during the Rat Ghoul events.
Okay.
So whatever the Saturday is
for the Rat Ghoul
after the Rat Ghoul event starts, we'll be doing something. So
watch for that. Okay.
Get your Lokens all lubed up and ready to go. Because
so if you're on the fleet and they're announcing Rat Ghoul infestation over the intercom, you'll know that's the week that the Loken event is happening. Excellent.
Yeah, we'll be doing the strolling of the Lokens. We'll be going down to the Rat Ghoul tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
we'll be doing all the Loken stuff.
Loken joking.
Loken and joking. It'll
Love
be fun.
It's a lot of fun. All right, then that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Satil Shan server, or in our
Tay Rage
Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast or Mastodon @OotiniCast@mastodon.world. You can find contact details for us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, streaming at twitch.tv/OotiniCast. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. I love that name. Thank you to the chat room. Yeah, and thank you to the chat room.
Thank you, chat. We love you.
And we'll see you next show.
All right, I'm looking for someone. Let us see.
Okay.
I always fall for it every time I see, OotiniCast is on. We could raid them. I can't do that. That's not possible.
All right. Let me look at the raids here.
I'm
not seeing anyone who the Utini channel follows, it looks like.
Yeah.
Let's see who's doing SWOTOR. Do we know King Kuro, Don Hades, LS1 Silver, any of these guys?
I'm looking.
Iruani. Okay, we've got a recommendation for Iruani. Let me find him. Or her. Iruan. There she is.
Okay.
All right. Let's go say hi to Iruan. Thank you for coming, everyone. And yeah. So again, if you haven't seen the interview with Tasia, the voice of Khalil, definitely go check it out.
Get it.
Do it.
Also watch Ghost Dog.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Okay. And I'm going to stop the stream, stop the